Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey to publication. I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
And I'm Christina Catane, and I'm currently writing a murder mystery.
Ooh, that's right, because it is National Novel Writing Month, and
Yep.
Christina Catane has taken on the challenge to write 50,000 words or more, which is a novel-length work of fiction. And I know we're going to have a what's up, but this is bonus. How is that project going for you? Unless that was your what's up.
I don't care. Yeah, I spent entire October learning about how to write a murder mystery, and my number one learning has just been feasting. I have been reading them, I have been watching them on movies and TV shows, and I've been looking at the tropes and all that stuff. So, and forcing myself not to write because I have high ideation, and when I learn stuff, it immediately pops into ideas. So I've just been writing the ideas on, you can see I have things written, major clue found. That's what this says right here. So I've just been thinking about it, and I was like a racehorse in the starting gate, all anxious, waiting for the thing to go off so I could just go.
Yes, and you had a successful first nano because we all got together, those who were available from our Facebook group. Thanks for joining us. We got together and had a kickoff that right at midnight, you got some words in, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And then I wrote some more the next day. For those of you who aren't in our Facebook group and you would like to write with other writers, join the Facebook group. There is a nano sprint room in the group, and people are going in there all the time. I know because my phone rings and says, somebody's in your room and wants you to come. And it happened at 7:02 a.m. yesterday because my phone is on sleep until 7 a.m. and then my alarm goes off. I was still in bed with my CPAP machine on and accidentally hit the button to go into the room. Luckily, Teresa told me it was too dark and she couldn't see me anyway. It's good. I had this cold contraption on my face.
Well, we've got Suzanne and Shell and Purpose Behind the Pen. Now, some of these remind me of her first name because I know it and it has evaporated from my brain. And we have Kathy today and SL Perrin. Good morning to everybody in our chat. We always have a really active, vibrant chat. And these great writers are also mostly part of our Facebook community. So, and there's Meg. Hello. Good morning. And it's just the two of us. Catherine, hello. Feel like breaking into song, just the two of us. Sadly, Jen is still out for her personal leave, and we have been missing Rhonda due to some health concerns for quite some time. They are both in our prayers, and I hope that you all will take some time to pray for them as well today. That would be really super great. That is the most important thing that we can do for those who are suffering and struggling. So, Tina, was that your what's up?
Well, not necessarily.
Well, what's up with you? It seemed like a lot. We were chatting this morning.
Yeah, and then poor Jamie had to interrupt me and go, it's 10:02. And it's like, oh, sorry. Well, today is my granddaughter's first birthday party. Her birthday is actually tomorrow. She'll be 1. So right after the podcast, I'm going to my daughter's house to help her get ready. And my help her get ready, I mean, I'm going to play with the baby and she's going to clean. So that's how grandma helps.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I've been working on my opening scene for my murder mystery, which usually is the murder itself. And I couldn't decide if I wanted it from the mother's point of view. I definitely was like, no, not doing it from one of the kids' point of view. That would be too dark. And then or the murderer's point of view. And I decided I was going to try it in different points of view. And so that's what I've been doing in the last couple of days. Although Meg and I got to talking in the group yesterday in the room, and then suddenly my laptop died, and I looked at the clock, and it was 2 p.m.,
Mm.
and I had only written 350 words.
Only. Now you have to be careful, Tina, because remember, a lot of people would be very happy to have 350 words, no matter how long it took.
Well, my goal was 1760 something,
Yeah,
so it was
yeah,
just
I
like,
understand.
I don't know, it was like a deep conversation that we got into,
Mm.
and then, like, I didn't even realize that, like, 3 hours had gone by because
Well, it sounds like good. It
I
sounds
I
like a
might
good
have to
time.
I might have to not talk to Meg for the rest of Nano so I can get my book read. I'm just kidding, Meg, I love you.
Oh, I see. Purpose Behind the Pen is still working on books 16 through 20, but the progress is going well. Good for you. Gosh, 4 books. I don't know what's up with anyone else in the chat. If anybody has anything that they would care to share. Happy birthday and many happy returns to Eliana. Meg and I chatted for a long time instead of writing the other day. Oh, well,
Uh,
Meg sounds like
there's
she's
a
easy to talk to.
yeah.
All right. Well, I will do my what's up.
Uh-oh.
And I will
I
try
see
not to
crops.
cry. Yes, I will try not to cry. So I got this mysterious package in the mail, but it wasn't so mysterious because of the return address. So I knew it was a gift from a friend. And this is a friend who I don't see often. She lives in another state. And so there's this cute little card with a smiley face. Don't forget to read the spines on all the books on the card. And the card has books, okay? And the spines say, laugh loud, play hard, and have hope and I don't even know. Be something. Loved and then happily ever after and dream big. Okay? And then she wrote inside this card, look what popped out of your tumbler. Only the prettiest of rocks. In no time, you'll have an entire jar full to look at and enjoy. All the pain and bruises the rocks went through to get all shiny, pretty slicked, kind of sucked pretty badly. But every day, every week and month creates more and more glorious rocks. Throw them at the giant if you have to. Collect them if you want to. Just know they are a reminder of the beauty that comes from tumbling, the beauty from ashes, that's you.
Oh.
Love you, friend. And so there's the pretty little velvety pouch that, anybody else when they're like your Athena size, be like, I want this little bag, this little drawstring bag. And then inside were, of course, tumbled stones of different
Nice.
varieties and polishes. And it's so interesting because when I was a small child, my best friend Melanie, her house had the best toys, and she had a rock tumbler, but she never wanted to play with it when I came over, which was really discouraging to me because there's something about polished rocks. And my friend who sent this to me, her name is Jennifer, she and I were talking about something that clued her in that I would very much appreciate this. And she sent it to me, and it was very super meaningful. And so I just wanted to share that with everybody. Look
Does
at this one.
Jennifer's
It's so
last name
pretty.
start with a V?
It does. Jen
Oh,
Varberg. Yeah, you know her?
no. I was thinking of a different Jen whose name starts with a V.
Oh, that's weird how I know 2 Jens with the last name that starts with a V. Because
Yeah.
yeah, but yes, so she's amazing and right on time with this because I mean, who couldn't use a little bit of encouragement? We all have our crosses to bear, right?
I have a rock tumbler that my husband will probably give you.
Oh,
I bought it
well,
for him for Christmas a couple years ago because he was always telling this story over and over again. He told this story of how every year Christmas when he was a kid, he asked for a rock tumbler and he never got one. So
mm,
I bought him a rock tumbler and he's not even ever opened it.
well, I will say, okay, the story of like the rock tumbler. So of course it was like the 70s and the plastic situation. So I asked for a rock tumbler, much like your husband. My mother's like, those are junk, which is true. Like if you see anybody like really tumbling rocks, like You need stainless canisters, like whatever. The point is, I don't have the same sort of bitter story because my mom was always right if she said something was junk. Like those little candy machines in the grocery store where you put a quarter in. Oh, you just get junk out of.
So
You don't care, but now as an adult, you're like, she was right. It
one
was junk.
person's junk is a little kid's treasure.
Yes, little kids do like junk things. Okay, but I would like to encourage anybody else because I have a more uncouth and not really safe for the podcast way of talking about this fact that everybody has a cross to bear and everybody goes through stuff. And so I have a hard time also sometimes hearing the message of like, oh, well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger or whatever. Sometimes you're just like, I just want to remain a dusty,
Sometimes it kills you, though.
unpolished rock that is, you know what I mean? Like, who asked to be polished? Nobody asks for it. Oh, sorry. And everybody goes through something. So whoever out there is also feeling like, no, thank you. I do not care to be shiny and pretty. I will happily stay untumbled. I just want like you to know that I hear you and I feel that. So I'm not trying to just be glib about people's struggles. And I know my friend wasn't either. So I just wanted to add that.
Awesome.
Someone we had a rock tumbler, Meg. She has a lot to say. We know about Meg. Just kidding. We had a rock tumbler when I was a kid. I found a jar full of polished rocks at my mom's house when we cleaned it out. Oh, and I brought them home.
Oh.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing too about rocks and about seashells. I love them. And they also remind me of like people, because even if you meet a bunch of people who, you can make a list of how they're just the same, they're all female, they all have brown hair, whatever. They're all going to have different, you would call them imperfections in a seashell or a rock, but they are all special because of those things. Like, this is my rock that has the little chip. This is my rock that will stand up if I put it on the table just so. And I feel like if you collect people, it's those things that make them special, just like with rocks or seashells, right?
Mm-hmm. I've always liked the analogy of the clay pot that's broken and then gets glued back together, and then when you put the light inside, it like shines out through the cracks.
I love that.
That's supposed to be like an analogy of, we're broken, God puts us back together, and then he puts his light inside of us.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Put your light up on a hill. Meg, thanks for sharing. I hope it's okay that I teased you a little bit. That's a very nice thing that you shared with us.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no more what's up, we'll move into the topic du jour, which is kind of leftovers because it was meant to be at the end of October, but hopefully people can still utilize because it's practical information for any time of your life that's going to be a little bit crazy. Wouldn't you say, Tina?
Yeah. Or if you're just feeling lazy.
Yeah. If you're just, yes. Or sometimes, you're not able to do things like you would want to. Right. And so this is putting life on autopilot. So because National Novel Writing Month is such an overwhelming amount of work to accomplish 50,000 words in just 30 days, you have to rearrange your life to make that possible, right? Because you have to allow the time to get the work done. And what we thought was if there was a way to just put the other stuff on autopilot so that you didn't even have to think about that stuff, it might free you up to be creative and to not have guilt, most importantly, when you invest time in your novel.
Exactly. And I should not have said the word lazy. I should have said energy efficient.
It is a more preferable term. Yes, absolutely. All right. So we're going to talk first about, we're going to talk first about menu planning. Now, did you pick the word crockpot to go in our sprint prompt today, Tina?
Did. I did not use 5 random words. I will throw myself under the bus here. I picked those words myself to go with our theme for our podcast today.
All
I
right.
just thought up 5 words, and it worked really well in my sprint, so but I didn't plan it that way, so
Well, I feel like the story writes itself based on these 5 words, so I was really and then I was, charmed that Crockpot would come up in a random generator for this episode, but so
no,
I'm
I
now
was not
uncharmed
it was not
officially.
ran it was sorry. It's
It's
not
fine.
random.
Okay, so we're gonna say menu planning is something that you can do absolutely to put at least one part of your life on autopilot. Now, a lot of people already menu plan, but if you don't, and you're like, oh, I would hate to do that all the time. You don't have to do it all the time, just maybe for November. And especially if you don't do it all of the time, your kids might look at this as sort of a tradition that you could do every November as part of like the holidays are starting, and especially coming right on the back of a Halloween to have something to really kick off the festive season and make your family maybe look forward to NaNoWriMo because your kids could maybe contribute to the menu plan. When you say, Tina?
Yeah, and depending on what age they are, they could even, like, take a night that they're gonna make dinner.
Oh, yeah, boy, they'll feel really big and grown up if that's the
Yeah,
case.
and
Wow. And go ahead.
I like, I have small plate you know when people talk about plate, like, I have a lot on my plate?
Yeah.
Well, some people have bigger plates than other people. My husband has a turkey platter. I
Mm-hmm.
have a teacup saucer. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
the size of my plate. So I need to get ahead of the decision fatigue because if I have too much, I can't make a decision. What are we gonna have for dinner? I don't know. So if I have it all planned out, even if you only do it a week at a time, and then like next week you do the week next week, um, that decision is taken care of, and you don't have to take care. You don't have to make that decision, and that
Mm.
really gives you energy. At least
I
me.
love it.
And
Mhm.
another thing that used to drain me is the kids constantly going, "What's for dinner? What's for dinner?" Look at the refrigerator. It's posted.
Mhm. Yes, post it on the fridge, and then, if you do the type of meals that are dump into the crock pot, you just take the stuff out of the freezer before you go to bed at night and dump it right in the crock pot, and it will be ready at dinner time. That's
Right.
kind of the thought. And there's
And
many ways
oh,
to
sorry.
tackle menu planning. Like, I mean, you could do a whole episode about it, but we did a little bit of an outline to kind of inspire you. And one thing I want to add before we get into that is this also will maybe encourage the children to want to come to the grocery store too. Because a lot of times, if you frame something as like a mission, and they're going to help you accomplish a mission,
Mhm.
they can really get behind that, right?
Yeah. And if you do meal prep, like a lot of times I'll go to the store and get my stuff for the week and then I'll prep it all that day. Like I'll chop up all my vegetables and I'll roast my potatoes and have them in the fridge and all that. You can make Ziploc bags and they're all like you can find it on TikTok, you can find it all over the internet. People with ideas about meal prep for the crock pot. And you just put all
Mhm.
your ingredients in a Ziploc bag and stick it in the freezer, and then the day that you're gonna have that meal, like, literally all you have to do is pull it out and dump it into the crock pot because all your ingredients are already in there.
Now, that would be the pick a day to chop and freeze would be batch cooking, right?
Yes.
And then slow cooker and instant pot meals. There's plenty to pick from: chili, pot roast. You've got pasta on here. Does pasta not just disintegrate, or do you put it in at the end?
Well, there are a few pasta recipes out there for the Instant Pot where it's literally, like, 4 minutes.
Oh, Instant Pot, I see. The slow cooker
Yeah.
and
No,
Instant
I
Pot,
would
yeah.
not put pasta in the slow cooker.
Okay,
I
I
would
didn't
make
even
that
know.
separate. It would
I
be the
didn't
ins
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I just got so excited because I didn't even realize I was gonna have something to contribute to this. I discovered, thank you, internet, that you can do a pretty good onion caramelization in the slow cooker. You just put a bag of onions in the slow cooker with a bunch of butter and leave it for like 12 hours. And you can even turn the lid crooked for the last, I don't know, 4 hours to suck up some of the water. But I did that, and then I added butter beans, and I made French onion butter beans. Oh my goodness, were they good? And then with the crouton and cheese on top. And you didn't have to stand there babysitting the onions. And then I even like added like broth to make it soupy. But the point is, you can caramelize onions in the slow cooker,
You
and
could
it
do
tastes
just
super.
about anything. If you have an Instant Pot and a slow cooker, like, you could pretty much make anything nowadays. There's a recipe out there for it.
Suzanne, aka Knitting Nerd, says it's just the two of us now. I make a week's worth of food and put it in the fridge for both of us to grab when we are ready to eat. I also prepare a week worth of meals for him to take to work. See, she's on it with the menu planning already.
And I
Um,
do it because I do not eat I'm whole food, plant-based, no salt, oil, or sugar, and my husband is a complete standard American diet eater, and so I
mhm,
don't like to cook twice. Once for me and once for him, so I'll cook all my food on one day and put it in,
mhm.
like, little deli containers like you would get to take your stuff to go. They're like you can buy them on Amazon. I buy like 100 at a time. They're just these black plastic containers with clear plastic lids,
Yeah.
and I like divvy it all up and stick it in the fridge.
We do have a post in our Facebook group where people have been contributing their Instant Pot slow cooker ideas. So if you are feeling a little inspired and want some more ideas, head on over to the group and join so you can read that. There's
Or add
also this.
more.
Yes, and
Yeah,
then if you don't want to pre-prep or pre-plan, you can also just decide that you're going to make 15-minute meals, okay? So you don't want to have the burden of like, well, now I've got to have chicken tortilla soup because that's what it says on the menu plan and I got a whole crock pot full of it. You could instead do a 15-minute meals and just decide at, 5:30 every day, dinner will be on the table. I'm going to start cooking at quarter after, or however that would work into your life.
yeah.
Perhaps just whenever I have a free 15 minutes, I'm going to cook dinner. But this is more of the
Right.
pantser solution to putting dinners on autopilot. There's lots of ideas online. Tina, you had some good ideas.
Yeah, and, sorry, I totally lost where we are, but, quesadillas are very fast.
And
Um,
tasty.
like, you in a pan for a few minutes. Now, like I said, I don't use oil and animal products, so I, like, put
Hmm.
hummus and strips of red peppers or red peppers, green peppers, and onions, like you would put in a fajita. I put the hummus and those vegetables, and if you fold it over, I put it on my dry griddle, and it makes
Mm.
great quesadillas. Soup and sandwiches. Who doesn't love tomato soup with a sandwich to dip in? A lot of times you can make pasta in 15 minutes, especially if you use like a jar sauce. You could just make a dump casserole where you just throw everything in a in a what is that called? Cake pan,
13 by 9. Mm-hmm.
and just put a bunch of stuff in there and throw it in the oven. And like, okay, it's not going to be ready in 15 minutes, but the prep takes way
Right.
less than 15 minutes, and
Anyone can
then it
pull it
just
out of
has
the
to wait
oven.
for it be yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And in fact, you could even tell yourself, I'm going to write for the whole time that it is baking.
yeah, there you go. You could have a baking sprint.
Yes. Yeah, Kathy says she seconds soup. With just the two of us, a large pot can last them for several days. And Angie says I could put a paper towel over the crock pot lid to help suck up some of the moisture. Yeah, I did not find the onions to be too moist, by the way. Oh, they did come out just so good. And if you love caramelized onions, it takes forever standing over a pan stirring them. So that
I
was
wonder
great to
if
know.
that would work with just vegetable broth because I don't use butter. I wonder if I could just put
Mm.
onions and vegetable broth in there.
I would not. I would think it would be like for the sticking. You don't use lecithin or something. Do you have any like non-animal slippery making stuff? I think it was
No,
just
I
for.
saute all my vegetables in a dry pan, and
Okay.
if they start to stick, I either turn the the heat down, or I'll add like a just a splash of water or vegetable broth, and it's enough.
The broth might help because it's just to make it not stick. I mean, are you
Yeah,
anti crock pot liner? I don't want to start a big controversy, but you
I
could
don't
also
care.
maybe do a crock pot liner.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, if you just put dry onions in there, I wonder if they would caramelize.
I think they would burn.
Yeah, you would probably need some kind of liquid.
Catherine says, I love the idea of combining a writing sprint with baking or the Instant Pot. Yeah, you've got a built-in timer. It's going to scream at you when time is
That's
up.
right. Yeah,
And also, you can do a hybrid. You can cook up a bunch of ground beef and have it frozen. And there you go. You can have tacos or sloppy joes in just a few minutes because you've got the meat already pre-cooked. So there's
or
many
beans.
ways. Yes, there's many ways to put meals on autopilot. Now, what about housework? Okay, like
Well, I just
I
have
am
to
not
add
going to,
one more thing about the meals.
yeah.
There's
Mhm.
no shame in ordering pizza.
Oh, yes, you could order out. I mean,
Yeah.
if
Or,
you want, mhm.
with Grubhub and on DoorDash, you could literally order out anything nowadays from any
Mhm.
restaurant and have it delivered.
Now, because of the price and extra expense involved, you want to try to plan ahead and be like, okay, we're going to give ourselves 3 squares on the bingo card that are going to be order out nights or something. You may want to put it on your planning list, put it on your menu just to keep yourself from, blowing the budget just because it is a lot more expensive to do ordering out, but there's no shame in it, like Tina said. Everybody has their own priorities and budget. And if that's what works best for you, Tina, I'm glad you remembered to say that.
Yeah. Like, no shame.
Okay, but like this whole housework component, I had nothing to do with this outline. And it's so funny because I'm reading it says, have a house that cleans itself. And I'm like thinking, this is not my reality. So I'm not even going to pretend that
Well, it's
I
not mine
exercise
either.
any of these ideas, but these are some great tips,
It
Tina.
really
Good for
was a
you.
tongue in cheek kind of thing. Because there's a book that you can buy that the title is have a, that, or I think the title is The House That Cleans Itself, or Have a House That Cleans Itself, or something along that lines. And I bought the book and it sat on my dining room table for several months before I picked it up. And the joke was, I bought the book and I've had it on the table for 3 months and this house still isn't clean. I want my money back. So and I
Ah,
tried to find that book and I couldn't find it, but I'm pretty sure these tips that I put into practice in my life came from that book. And so I wanted to give credit where credit was due and say,
I
I'm
love that.
pretty sure these ideas came from that book.
Well, my one disclaimer is going to be that thanks to the wonders of the internet and thanks to the fact that I know something was going on with me from a very young age, but my parents were very much not a like take you to a specialist and get you medicated kind of people. That's just they're old school, right? But I have heard people on the internet say, don't put it down, put it away. And I think that for people who are wired the way that I am, whether it's ADHD or whatever it is that I have going on, don't put it down, put it away may be the first step to help avoid. Because what happens to me is like I develop a cluttered situation and then I have to clean the cluttered situation. I develop a and I have a place for everything. I just don't put it there until I'm good and ready to. Instead, I leave it on the counter and then I have like a disaster. So, anyway, that's my one tip to offer to everybody. And,
You
Dr.
know,
Heal Thyself.
my husband will come in after work and like all of his stuff just comes out of his pockets and like gets dumped on the dining room table. So
Yeah.
the idea in the book was to have like a cabinet right inside the door where,
Mm.
and that like, if you have a bunch of kids, like there's a bin or a basket or something with each person's name on it, or they just know
Mm.
this one is theirs.
Go ahead and dump your pockets right into your little
But the
space.
kids decorate it so it's theirs,
I
and
love
all the
that.
stuff basket, it's right by the door, so they don't have to like there's no effort. It's like automatic. Have a place for shoes that's right by the door. That's automatic. And the place to hang the backpacks, a hook, and that will take care of a lot of clutter.
Yes. I see Suzanne, aka Knitting Nerd. She does 10-minute pickups a couple times a day to keep up. Very good. That's like the Fly Lady premise, right? She's another one that people really love to get to use when they're trying to put their cleaning tasks on autopilot.
Right.
Very good, very good.
And I'm
What
pretty sure that's on our outline. Like when my kids were all home, we used to have 5-minute cleanups.
Oh, yeah.
Every
Mhm.
night before we went to bed, everybody, the whole family, we would sing while we were doing it, the cleanup song.
Clean
Clean
up,
up, everybody,
everybody. Yeah,
everywhere. Clean up, everybody,
everybody
do your
doing their
share.
share.
And we would, and I would set, I let the kids would take turns getting to set the timer, and everyone would just clean up like as fast as they could for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Anybody could clean for 5 minutes, and it would take care of so much stuff that had just, the kids, you know, kicked their socks off while they were sitting on the couch watching TV, or,
Mhm.
all that stuff that just makes a mess. Like it
Yeah.
was cleaned up, and I had 4 children. So that 5 minutes with five people, because my husband rarely participated, um, got a lot of stuff picked up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you can put, speaking of making baskets or caddies, you could fill cleaning supplies and have more than one batch of cleaning products so that they're handy to you, so that you don't think, well, I would wipe off this bathroom counter, but the Clorox wipes are in the other bathroom. Like, don't give yourself that out. Just have the cleaning supplies kind of on hand everywhere. Wash as you go. Have the sink full of hot soapy water. So you could just throw those mixing bowls right in there, and have a family motto. If you see something, say something. No, that's my work. Sorry. If you see something, pick it up and
Yeah.
clean it up. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
those.
like to have like a little, one of those carry caddies,
Uh
one
huh.
in the kitchen and one in the bathroom. And it has all the supplies that needed to clean that room in that little caddy. So you just grab the caddy and it's got your rags and your cleaners and whatever you need. So it's really easy to just grab it and do a quick cleanup.
But you know what's even easier?
Move out.
Just live with the mess. Just live with the mess for
Yeah.
30 days. Like, if you really can't do any of this, if you really are just like, you got a tiny little plate, like Tina said, and the Nano is taking up all of the room you have on it.
And the
Instruct
mess doesn't keep you from writing.
right. If it doesn't, if it doesn't interfere with your
And your husband
well-being,
won't divorce you.
yes.
Then
If
yeah.
and if he's not willing to clean it up, like, that's a whole nother discussion. If he doesn't like it, there's more. You are
Well,
not the only one responsible for the mess
my
in your
husband
home.
works 12 hours a day and works really, really hard. So I feel bad saying, well, you should come home and clean.
Yeah, it's very much
Yeah,
going to be
when
your
I'm home
mileage
all
may
day.
vary,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what works for your family works for your family, and if nobody cares and you don't care, then just live with the mess for a month.
yes, I mean,
No judgment from this quarter.
you're setting yourself up for a pretty big task later on, but whatever.
Yeah,
You're a grown-up person who can make your own decisions for sure.
that's right.
So the last thing we want to talk about before we move on is, how do you find time? So you've got the teeny tiny plate, or you have just a limited number of spoons, or however you want to put it. How do you find time when there is no time? Oh, hi, Maria.
Yeah,
She's got the daylight savings going on. She's chiming in. It's good to see you, Maria. Good
yeah.
to see ya, Maria. That sounds very rhymey. So
So
anyway, what would you say, Tina?
I say the first thing is, like, if you have a lot of errands to run, like your kids have soccer practice, or I don't know, probably not in November. Like I don't know,
Basketball, I don't
ballet
know. Yeah,
practice,
right,
or
ballet.
and you
Mhm.
have to go with them, bring your notebook, bring your laptop, have a writing app on your phone, waiting room in the doctor's office, waiting in the car outside the school to pick up the kids. Um, if you work full time, you have 15-minute breaks or a lunch break. You could write during your lunch break.
You know what I just realized? If
Mm,
you change the A in waiting to an R, it becomes writing. So the waiting
mm.
room can become the writing room.
Oh yeah,
Waiting for your kids, you could be writing for your
yeah,
kids. So anytime that you would be waiting, you could be writing.
right. And there are at like Scriv. I'm pretty sure, I don't know about Scrivener, but you can download Google Docs right onto your phone, and you can just be sitting there typing away on your phone. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody else is on their phone in the waiting room.
I
What is
know that
yeah,
Catherine will talk. She will use, like, the dictation method too, so that's
yeah.
always an option.
I
Mhm.
tried that so hard for a while, but writing voice is different when I talk, and I didn't like it.
The benefit of that method in public is it also keeps other moms away from you if you don't want to be social at the. That's the lady who talks to herself. I'm gonna go sit way over here.
That reminds me of the meme where somebody's sitting in an airplane and they're reading a book, but they had a fake cover on it that said how to kill people who talk to you.
Yeah. So if you're not feeling particularly social, try
Oh
dictation.
my! And you could just like have a Bluetooth in your ear, so they'll think they're
Mhm.
talking to somebody.
Well, there you go.
Uh,
Okay, so now if you've got little ones running around, now Tina, you can speak to this because now you have the grandbabies, right?
right.
So if you've got little ones underfoot and you're like, there's no way, I'm so busy entertaining these little ones. What would you suggest?
Well, like my Athena, who is 6, if you put Frozen on, she won't speak to you for an hour and a half. And there's a Frozen 2, so that's 3 hours.
Yeah,
Um,
there you
get a
go.
babysitter.
Why not?
May Maybe you have a writing friend that has kids too. You guys could swap babysitting, like, let your friend write one day and you could write, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have to watch your show because it's on Friday nights and that's what you do, write during the commercials.
Mm.
Or if you
Yeah.
watch Netflix, like, make yourself stop between episodes because, like, I'll binge watch. Like, I'll just watch, like, 20 episodes of
Mm.
something, and I'll fall asleep, and it'll just keep playing. And, like, you could say, "I'm gonna stop for 15 minutes between episodes, and I'm gonna write."
Yes, or you could make watching your favorite show your reward and plan to
Yeah.
write right before it comes on and say, okay, I have done what I wanted to do or what I needed to do. Now I'm going to do what I want to do because it's so funny how it becomes suddenly like a chore or a task, isn't it? Once
Mhm.
you've made this obligation commitment to yourself, now it doesn't feel like a fun thing to do. Why?
Right.
Why is that?
I don't
Maybe part
know.
of it is like thinking about your mindset and getting an excited mindset about
I
it.
get to write instead of I have to write. Would make
Right.
a good mindset shift. Um,
Yeah.
Another thing that you can do is just have 10, 15-minute sprints throughout the day. Like, if you space them out, if you want to do 4 sprints a day, one in the morning, one in like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and right before you go to bed, like, you could get your words in that if you can type fast enough.
Speaking of which, Catherine Carroll says dictating makes drives super productive. Ooh, while she's driving, very smart.
Yeah.
Knitting Nerd, aka Suzanne, says she sets her writing area up before she goes to bed, picks up the house so it's not a distraction in the morning, and gets up earlier while the house is still quiet. Oh, I love a house full of sleeping people. That's the best time to be awake, I think. And then Knitting Nerd, aka Suzanne, rewards herself with watching YouTube. Yes, if you can, if it's not a I gotta watch it the second it goes live, you can make it a treat for
Right.
you.
So Suzanne
Rewarding
got one
yourself.
of our points on our outline that is like, get up early or stay up later. Also,
Mm-hmm.
give up something you normally do,
Right. Right.
like watching that favorite show. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna record it and watch it in December.
You could just be like, this show isn't even any good anymore and catalog all of the reasons why. They
You
made me so mad in that episode about.
And if your goal is only to get 50,000 words and you don't care if you have something to publish at the end, you could write your favorite show like how you would want it to go.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be like, well, they made me mad because I wanted so and so and so and so together. Then you could write what that would have been like.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like we've pretty much exhausted our outline. Do you have any more tips and tricks for putting life on autopilot, Tina?
No, other than cloning, but that has both moral and practical problems.
Yes.
No.
Right. Or, growing a tail or another hand. Those
You know,
also are.
that's my proof there is no evolution, because if there was, I would have a hand for each butt cheek that I raised. So,
I'm sorry. I had I had a text from my manager, which is not important, but yes. Okay. I mean, she is important, but what she wants is not urgent. Okay. Sorry. So, anyway, we're going to move on to the feeding of the backs. Where is the outline, please? I'm no longer on Facebook. Oh, sorry. We shouldn't even talk about it. The outline is to keep Tina and I from squirreling too much. The outline
Yeah,
is something
it's
that
just for us.
it's just for us to make sure that we talk about everything we want to talk about. I shouldn't keep mentioning it because then people are going to be like, what is this outline that you speak of? Yes,
I
it
know.
is mysterious.
Especially if you're high input, you're like, I have to have it.
I want to follow along like the church bulletin. We should do that. We should be like fill in the blank, A good way to put your home on autopilot is, and then the blank,
Well,
like,
it was your
anyway.
idea, so you have to do it.
No,
Because that's a lot of work.
it's a lot of work. All right. So Tina,
Hey, I'm a pastor's wife. I'm great at that. Oh, that's a great idea. Let me know when you want to get started.
yes. Let me know when the first one is ready
Yeah,
to go.
you plan that, and I'll go.
I love it. All right, so we're going to move on to my favorite part of the podcast, which is the feeding of the backs, because I love words of encouragement. And that is what we do. We spend 15 minutes only. 15 minutes only, just like the bag of Santitas, $2.29 only, 15 minutes only, which, by the way, used to be $2 only. So I'm a little upset about the inflation. But anyway, I digress. We're going to spend 15 minutes only writing a story based on a prompt that we have every week. And as we mentioned earlier in the episode, this week is 5 words handpicked by Christina Catane. Typically, it's a random word generator, or we'll have a sentence prompt or whatever. And we encourage you all to sprint. Not only can you count this as writing for your NaNoWriMo project, if you are so inclined to do so, you also can exercise your brain and improve your writing craft. The only way to get better at writing is to write. So please avail yourself of this opportunity and then share it in the Facebook group. We only give positive feedback. We only give words of affirmation. Why? Because we don't edit these. We write them and then we come on and share them with you. And they're meant
Right.
to show you that sprinting is helpful, even if you don't come up with a beginning, middle, and end.
Yes.
What did you write today, Tina? And what is the prompt?
The prompt was, oh, where is the prompt? I didn't put
Right?
it on my sheet where I wrote. I usually have it there.
Wow.
Crock pot, rutabaga, kids, housework, and sanity. Which I felt went really well with NaNoWriMo
Yes, the
month.
story wrote itself, I have to say.
Okay,
What did you
so
come up with? Now you wrote in
I
your world, right?
yes, I wrote in my world, and this is one of my experiments with whose point of view I want the murder scene to be from.
Ooh, okay. So this is the option A or whatever of
Well,
your
it's actually
opening.
option B because I did another one yesterday.
All right, all right.
All right, and I couldn't remember her name, so I made one up on the fly
Okay.
because I have it written down somewhere, but I didn't have time to go look for it.
All
So
right.
the names will change, but here we go. Sarah O'Flanagan chopped rutabaga, tossing the chunks into the crock pot as she went. It was early morning, the sky still a dark shade of gray, slowly lightening as she worked. Her husband had gone to a job with a work crew the night before. It promised to pay him a good wage, even if it were only for a few days. It would be good to have some chicken to put into the stew. The rutabaga done, she started on the potatoes. The kids were still asleep, and she wouldn't need to wake them for at least another hour. That was plenty of time to get the crock pot going and do a little housework. She took a tentative sip of her steaming coffee. Too hot. She set the cup back on the counter and went into the pantry to grab a bag of rice. The pantry was tiny and smelled funny. In fact, the whole trailer smelled funny. She suspected it was rotting away around them, and one day it would just crumble. She tried not to think about it. Tried not to think about her life back in Boston, the cozy brownstone they'd called home. 2 cars instead of one old pickup, its bed filled with scrap metal. She was embarrassed to drive it. She missed her mom and her cousins and Sunday dinners at Grandma's house. She missed the harbor and the pace of city life. She missed the shopping. Sarah let out a sigh. What she wouldn't give to step into Grandpa's pub, O'Brien's, and be greeted by the old familiar faces. If she thought about it too long, she would lose her sanity. She wondered if it was long gone anyway. If she didn't love Sean so much, she wouldn't be here right now. Her heart swelled with love for him, but ached with homesickness at the same time. She'd signed up for this, and this was her life now. She emerged into the kitchen, and the hairs stood up on the back of her neck. Something wasn't right. An almost imperceptible sound, like the flutter of butterfly wings, caused her to turn. A man stood a few yards away, all dressed in black, a mask covering his face, a gun in his hand. She saw the silencer and knew immediately what was about to happen. They'd found them. Please, she begged. Not the kids, they're innocent. The man said nothing. She heard the whoosh of the silenced bullet just before her world went black.
Dun, dun, dun. Now I have so many questions. Not negative. Like, you've done a very good job of getting me to want to continue reading. And I have to admit, immediately I'm like, well, why is anybody wanting to kill her? It isn't like she has any money. But then you added that juicy, they found us. Like, oh, okay. No, things are different. I love it. That's very hooky. I don't know. I'm pretty much in favor of option B, but I have not read option A. Maybe you could do it like choose your own adventure. Hello, reader. You have your choice of 3 openings for this novel.
I thought maybe I could do it from both because
Mm.
I really like the first one where I had the killer sitting in his vehicle watching the trailer and watching the street lamps go out
Yeah,
and
why would you not put
screwing the
both in there?
silencer onto his gun and
Yeah.
like the smell of the ocean and the cedar trees because they're on the Oregon coast. And like, so I really liked option A too.
And I feel like this silencer is very like it's like, like almost the title of the book. Just it feels like a character all by itself, the
Yeah.
silencer.
Well, it
Anyway,
just shows like this isn't just some robber or
yeah,
like
this is
this is a
someone.
guy who is here to kill you and not be heard doing it.
I do not like it. I mean, I do like it because it's very intense, as Catherine said. And Shell says, so good, Tina.
Thanks,
Really
guys.
great setup. Like, absolutely. Like, yeah, I really want to know. And also, I'm pretty sad. And also, I feel like, well, I guess she doesn't have to worry about her crumbling. Like, she was all worried, just like we all are. We're all worried about, these things in our lives that are problematic for us.
Right.
And,
But we
the
have our
Stoics
lives.
say, remember, you will die, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, Tina. So thanks for the deep thoughts, which I'm sure you unintentionally provoked, but that's a sign of good writing. So I do
Thank you.
appreciate
I
you
appreciate it.
sharing that. Okay.
So
Well,
now
now
it's
for
your turn.
something completely different.
Well, that's
um,
why we like to do this because it really shows how you can take the same words and come up with something completely different.
Yes, and your version would be way different than ours, which is why we like to see them.
Yeah.
Kathy Swanson says good pacing, and I love they found us hook that jumps at you when you're not expecting. Yes, exactly. Very, very agree. Knitting nerd, aka Suzanne, premeditated indeed, for sure. Very good. Way to draw us in, Tina.
Thanks.
Okay, so as a reminder, I had 5 words, and again, I felt like the story just wrote itself. So thank you for amazing prompts, Tina. The words were crockpot, rutabaga, kids, housework, sanity, and I got all 5. How often do I get all 5?
We both got all 5, and usually both of us just wave at them on the way by.
It is a banner day.
Maybe I should
I'm
handpick the
saying.
words every month or every month, every week.
Yes, and if you care to watch me actually create this writing sprint, I do live stream it to our YouTube channel on the days that I'm able to participate in the podcast. So if that's interesting to you, if you want to see that, head on over. You can watch me write a considerable number of these. I've live streamed. All right, so here we go. The house smelled divine. Mom was cooking Mississippi pot roast in the crock pot, and the aroma of cooking onions and carrots and the tinge of the peppercini peppers made my mouth water. Most kids loved Halloween on account of all the free candy. I loved it because Mom was always on her A game. She knocked out all her housework on what we Detroiters called Devil's Night and made Halloween's dinner an easy crock pot one. She joked about it just being a way to save her sanity on one of the most hectic nights of the year, but I wasn't fooled. Mom loved a holiday celebration as much as any of us kids, if not more. She was antsy and fidgety all leading up to the big night and had to expend her energy in some sort of way. And making final tweaks to our amazing handmade costumes was only one of the ways she burned through the nervous excitement we all felt. Time to fill the candy bowls, she called. And my sisters and I came running, giggling at the surprise offerings Dad would find in the treat bucket he was destined to man, while Mom and us went out in our matching outfits inspired by the rhyme, Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. What's this? Daddy said, picking up my little sister, the spoon, as the dish hugged his knees furiously. You've all left me with a big bowl full of rutabagas? We all laughed. They're potatoes, Daddy. Potatoes. Who's going to want a potato for Halloween? My sister shrieked with hysterical glee that Daddy had been sufficiently fooled, while Mom produced from behind her back a huge assortment of fun sized candy bars. It's an internet thing, I explained. Mom nodded. Yeah, give the kids a choice of candy or potato. Let us know how many pick potato. Dad's confused head scratching and shaking were what sent Mom and I into giggles. It was all we could do to get our front and back cow costume components connected, doubled over as we were by Dad's continued confusion. Come on, let's go, chanted Dish and Spoon, and we made our way down the street as the sun was setting, breathing in the smell of backyard campfires and moldering fallen leaves. Dad ended up handing out a lot of potatoes, but it seems our family wasn't the only one in on the joke. Dish and Spoon brought home quite a number themselves, and we all laughed over big steaming bowls of stew that night, agreeing it would have tasted scrumptious served over a helping of creamy mashed potatoes.
Nice. I would. My mouth is watering. Oh yeah. I was like,
Yes,
oh, that sounds yummy.
I'm going to give myself a critique. One of them should have been a moon, and the other one should have been a cow. But I had them in a connecting costume, or maybe they could have made Dad be the moon. Anyway, point is that is a critique for me, and I should not be giving myself a critique.
Right, and I love the idea of family costumes where everybody is like the whole family dresses up like
Yeah,
the Flintstones or whatever, you know.
right.
I saw one online where, and it was a celebrity, but the whole family was a different like person from a fast food restaurant. Like one person was Wendy, and one person was Colonel Sanders, and one person was the Burger King and
I
Ronald
love it.
McDonald, and I don't remember what the other one was, but yeah, I like love those, and it's just it it kind of makes me sad for the days when all my four kids were home and we would have Halloween. The funny thing is the one year I was a single mom and I was so completely broke that, and I had these pads of construction paper. So
Yeah.
I pulled the cardboard off the back of each of four pads of construction paper, drew some kind of like I would there was a wolf and a kitten. I'm sorry, it was only three because Chris wasn't born yet. A wolf, a kitten, and a puppy. And then I cut them out and I cut eyes and mouths out and I like put string. I had some yarn and I made them homemade masks. And it started to rain while they were trick or treating and their masks melted. But to this day, my daughter is in her mid 30s and my youngest just of those three kids just turned 30. And they still say that was their favorite Halloween ever.
Aw.
So like, yeah, I don't know.
Mom
Sorry,
pulled
rabbit
through.
trail,
No, I'm glad. That's the
but
point. I'm
that
glad that it
like
evoked something.
yes, your story evoked the memories of those fun times with the kids when we would do the trick or treating and hand out candy. Like nobody comes to our house. I turn off all the lights and make it as spooky as possible. Nobody comes to the door. But
Mm,
yeah, yeah, that's what it did. It was like it was so nostalgic to me.
I
Feel it.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. Well, real quick, let me say hi to Crystal. She's home from school. She's got pink eye. Oh, I mean, yay and boo at the same time. She said that was fun. I could see Dad's look of confusion. My dad would have been the same way. Yeah, it's so funny how people don't know about the potato thing. Like I saw some people legitimately angry in Facebook that someone would offer a kid a potato. Like, what are you cheap? And it's like, no, it's an option. Anyway, some people
Yeah.
just don't get
But
it.
for somebody like me who is like whole food plant based and I don't eat sugar, and if I was raising my kids that way, which a lot of people that follow that way of eating don't give their kids sugar, that's an awesome choice because baked potatoes and air fried potatoes and mashed potatoes are like a staple of my diet.
And potatoes are no longer cheap, just saying.
Yeah.
Um, Angie Ellie says, I know how to set a scene. I appreciate that. And Catherine, now she wants mashed potatoes. Me too. Shell says, very fun. Jamie, love this little self-contained world. Thank you. And then great fun. Enjoy the glimpse of a seemingly happy family. Yes, until I rip it apart, because that's what I do. No, just kidding. That story's probably finished. Probably not going to rip that family apart. Years ago, we had dinner with friends on Halloween, and the husband kept meeting trick-or-treaters at the door with a bowl of mashed potatoes. Imagine, hold out your hand, blop.
That's funny.
Oh, that
And
is
sorry
funny.
I didn't get all of your comments up on the actual screen. I am not Jen.
Jen's, yeah,
And
she's
she's
the
like got
expert.
special skills and I just couldn't keep up with it. Like I
What
couldn't
if
find the one I had up there to take it down. I was like,
I'm all distracted now thinking about putting mashed potatoes in the hand? I'm thinking, what if you had it in a can like whipped cream and you could like squirt mashed potatoes in your
you know what you could do? You know those little white cone things that you get snow cones in? You
Yes.
could put the mashed potatoes in there and you could dye the gravy like
Oh my goodness,
black
that's
or something
hilarious.
and you could put it on.
Yummy. Oh, I really have to eat mashed potatoes today. I've never heard an offer of potatoes. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
It's really fun. And then you eat the funny part was when they were originally doing this, that the little kid would be like, a potato. Like, I mean, as if they had gotten a full-size candy bar. And that was kind of the joke of it, is that the kids would be so darned excited to get a potato. So it was just
ooh,
really, oh, mashed potato waffles.
I'm
Mm.
gonna my husband broke my waffle iron.
Oh
He
no.
he knocked it off the top of the refrigerator and it busted. He
Does Amber
promised to
have
buy
one?
me another one and he didn't. I don't know, I'm gonna call her because
Yeah.
I have like I always make my potatoes in advance, and I
Mm-hmm.
have 2 cooked sweet potatoes in the refrigerator that I could
Mm.
smash into a waffle iron and make something really yummy for lunch.
Tasty. All right, now that we're all hungry, which seems to be what we do when we get together, pardon me, let's talk a little bit about what's next.
Okay, you
Next
want
for
me to
you
go
on your
first?
writing journey, Miss Christina. Sure.
I'm sorry, you were glitching there for a minute, and I don't know if that was me or you or whatever, but ooh, with cinnamon. Okay,
Oh, I'm
I
really
gotta
hungry
quit
now.
looking at the
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my hand over the chat. Well, I'm getting ready to like take off and go to my daughter's house and play with my little granddaughter who's turning 1 tomorrow, and we're having a birthday party tonight. And that's gonna. Oh, I gotta wrap presents first.
Oh.
And so I might be around tonight after I get home. In the sprint room, I don't know because I'm gonna have my granddaughter Athena with me. So it just depends on if my husband will let her play Minecraft on the PlayStation. Because if you do that, she won't talk to you for hours. Like as a parent, I would not like let the electronics babysit. As a grandmother, all rules are out.
Well, when she comes to grandma's, it's special time for
She
sure.
has her own tablet. My husband bought her a Kindle Fire for getting on the honor roll when she was in kindergarten. So she like
Aw.
has her own tablet and that's another thing that keeps her busy. But yeah, so I'm hoping like if you're not in the Facebook group, you might want to join it. We have a lot of fun um in that sprinting room. And as long as Meg doesn't make us all talk, then we'll be we love you, Meg. The motto around our house is if we don't pick on you, we don't like you.
Do you do sprints when you're in there?
Yes. The idea is that we're going to set a timer for 25 minutes with 5-minute breaks. The problem is I never remember to set the 5-minute timer. So it's my fault.
So if you
Somebody
show
else
up,
needs to, somebody with more responsibility needs to be in charge of the timer.
yeah, so she's begging you to show up in the sprint room if you are someone inclined to be, what did you say was the strength? responsibility. If you have high responsibility,
Responsibility.
Meg says, "Hey, I didn't twist anyone's arms." Yeah,
No,
stick up for
no,
yourself, Meg.
it was my fault. It really was. I started talking and I didn't stop.
Ooh, what's next? Vegas, baby. Catherine Carroll's going
Oh,
20
20
books.
bucks.
And
Nice.
from what I understand, this will be the last one that Craig facilitates. So the
Yeah, he
future
said
of 20 books is in question. So if you can't get out there this year, you're going to miss the end of an era. I will not be going.
no,
But I'm glad I didn't plan to
I
go.
had the money last year, but my daughter decided to have a baby in November. So, and the due date was like the week and like the day that like the next day after 20 books last year ended was her due date
Mm.
originally. And she was obviously born early because she was born November 4th, but I had to cancel. So, and I don't have the money this year. So,
Well, my what's next is I am going to be going on a little trip to see my sister and my other sister and my mother. So I'll be having some much needed time with family. It'll be wonderful time to just get away a little bit. And I'm not working either of my two jobs until next week, Thursday, which feels so bizarre. But it also feels good. It's like been a
are you
while since I
are you
had that
coming
kind
to
of.
Michigan?
No, my
Oh,
mother and sister are coming down here, and we're all
oh, okay.
traveling to where my sister lives elsewhere in Florida.
I had some premature excitement there for a minute.
I know I do need to come up there, though. I am pretty homesick for it, but I missed all the beautiful weather. So I
Yeah,
won't
don't
be
come in the
coming anytime
winter.
soon. No. Well, I come home for Christmas on occasion, and the weird thing is all the Michigan people are like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, "It's the holidays," and people are like, "So?" Like, get out of here. Why are you here? You're from somewhere that's beautiful right now. And I'm like, well, this is a very good point. Everyone should be coming to me, is
Yeah.
really, I should be the
My
center
husband and I
of the.
are planning a trip to Branson, Missouri, and we were going to go at Christmas time, but then I think we're going to go in the spring instead. But
I would like to see Branson. I haven't
it's
been
supposed to
there.
be really beautiful at Christmas time. But
I'm a theater nerdy kind of person. So I would like that. Okay, but I do have to sign off, even though I don't have work to get back to. I have other stuff going on. So,
yeah, me too.
any final words, Tina?
No, just happy writing, everyone, and
Yes.
good luck. And
Hope
we
we'll
can
see
do
you in the
this.
sprint room, right?
Yeah.
Until next time, may your pen be prolific, your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Have a great
I know.
week. Bye.